Welcome to Hive Mind with Speaker and Edge. Today we're going to have a chat about the worldwide uprisings against medical tyranny. And I know you've been having a front row seat of all that and what's going on in Australia, Speaker. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm as good as I can be. I'm trying to keep my head up. Trying to do me at the moment. Try to wiggle around some of these things because it's not easy, especially when the full governments come down very, very hard on you. So I will talk about a little bit about Melbourne again, but we also wanted to highlight a lot of other countries that are refusing to really take this medical tyranny is a good way to put it that you said before when it comes to mandates and forcing citizens to do things against their will, because it is a very fine line here. When countries start doing this stuff, and we're seeing it everywhere at the moment, and it is
Yes.
scary if you're taking a broader picture. It might not be scary as for some of these people that are not taking a broad range and are not seeing what this actually details in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some scenes out of the latest protests in Melbourne, I believe, as well as that trucker protest. But it's good to see the people really taking a stand. I know that some of those protests really did get ugly with the police at certain instances, especially in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, Melbourne and Sydney got pretty heated. And Ali was on the ground there, which it only came out kind of this week. The ABC kind of threw a hit piece on him. Of course, we knew these things were going to happen, a few mainstream media sites. And some of the things they were saying is absolutely ridiculous. Like, look at him in the middle there, in the midst of it, like amongst all of it, as if that's not a journalist's job. Some of the shit they were throwing down was just absolutely absurd. He was the only one that captured this footage in all of Australia that actually got footage of the cops shooting protesters with rubber bullets, with pepper spray. The only journalist, no mainstream media reporter, apart from him, got any of this footage.
Wow, look at that crowd. Because even seeing, I was looking for footage myself on the Melbourne protest, and they carefully curate the kind of images you're able to see. And definitely that wide shot of the crowd, you do not normally get to see in the censored videos that are out of the Melbourne protests. They don't really want people to realize how massive these crowds are getting.
They're big, but the mainstream media, of course, is going to tell you a couple of hundred, which is what they always do. And people are pissed, and people don't care anymore, like you're seeing with this footage here. Uh, they really don't give a shit. It's really sad to me because I never thought I'd see my city in this sort of a mess. And, like this is my home, and I never thought I would see our government do this. It doesn't surprise me with some of Victoria Police. I mean, in a lot of stages, I do support military, I do support the police, but in these sort of situations, uh, power hungry once again, and are completely abusing any sort of power they have. They're not protecting people, they're hurting people.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be have to be some sort of critical moment where many police start waking up as well and start having a crisis of consciousness, meaning they start realizing that they're actually serving the wrong side and that they're basically participating in a war of the government against the people. And I think that we're starting to see that in some ways, meaning some of these mandates are actually here in America, for example, are really coming down hard on police unions and fire departments. And so they're the ones now who are facing this oppression, this medical tyranny, and starting to realize what side that they've been serving. And now they're starting to come over to the side of the people because they realize again, that this is really not about health and safety. This is about tyranny, and there has to be a stand at some point, and you have to choose a side. It's really gotten down to that point where you really can't stand on the fence anymore. You really have to pick a side.
Yeah, it's just devastating to see. And look, a lot of these people are not anti-jab, um, which it seems to be the thing that's always lumped in here. Um, but a lot of these people are anti-mandates, they're anti-tyranny. A lot of them don't give a shit if you want to get the jab. A lot of them don't care, right? They just don't want things forced upon them because we know the road that this takes, and
Yeah,
you
so
got to understand that.
go on over to the truckers. I want to see the trucker video. I had heard about this and didn't really get to see a lot of coverage on it. I knew that they had had it planned, so apparently that went through. Did you hear much on your end in Australia about
Um,
this trucker protest?
there a little bit, not much, because I am staying very far away from the mainstream media. Because honestly, the mainstream media is this 24/7. It's They've got their polls up, they've got their count up. It's 24-hour coverage of, you know, the virus. That's all it is. That's all our mainstream media is now. There's nothing else important worth saying.
Well,
Uh,
it's good to see somebody switching it up and basically forcing the media to cover the other side, which is the people. And these truckers here representing the people by saying, look, we're actually going to clog up the highway
mm.
in protest to these mandates.
Yeah, and this gentleman here says the exact same thing that I said. I mean, he doesn't care about the jab. People can get it if they want it. But what these organizations are doing now, especially for truckers, another reason why they're protesting, is they want to force a mandate on them that at least one of them have to get one jab. And a lot of them are not for it. A lot of people have straight walked out of their jobs. I think there was like 20 or 30 truckers in around Sydney border that said, "No, well, we'll just quit now then." Right? So
Right.
it's really freedom of choice that is being taken away. And when things are forced upon a population, you're going to have this.
Yeah, it's good to see it. I mean, we're seeing this across the world in Paris, Milan, London, Geneva, Greece, Montreal, New York City. I mean, major cities across the world. We're really seeing this mass non-compliance and unification against medical tyranny. And it's reaching a critical mass. Here's Paris. I mean, it's great to see that so many people are now unifying and one cohesive voice, one cohesive message, and really showing the government, look, there's more of us than there are of you. And you're supposed to serve the people, not the other way around.
I mean, how are these people supposed to, especially after what, 2 years of this, maybe even more now? What are we going on? And that's what I've said to a lot of people. They always kept throwing in, as soon as we get to a certain percentage of jabs, as soon as we can do this, as soon as Australia's nearly been in lockdown, or Melbourne has nearly been in lockdown for an entire year now, all up if you add everything up. If you add all the lockdowns we've had, with no end in sight, because every time we have a couple of breaks, something happens, and then we go straight back into it. It's the measures that whatever government want to put in are not working. They haven't worked. Okay, they're completely either useless or in some cases purposely doing. I don't know what hole you want to go down there, but either or,
Oh, it's
their process
purposeful.
is not done.
Look, once you allow any government, if you look in history, if you give over freedoms and give more power to the government, they do not want to let that go.
Oh, they never
It
do
is
that.
in their best interest to keep this going forever. And once you ultimately, and I think that most people now will see and will say they know that this is really has never been about health and safety. It really is about more government control. And we know where this is all leading to a complete and totalitarian one world government. And with all of these leaders and conspiring together to make it happen. So what's the next video?
We got here. This is New York.
Yep, New York's getting hit really hard with these mandates. And it's good to see. It's good to see a lot of people coming out against it in New York because, when you see these major cities that really are Democrat-run cities, you kind of wonder what how much resistance there's going to be.
Hmm.
And it's good to see that there is still an element of a large element of people that are willing to stand up against this.
Hmm. It's especially Melbourne. This is the one I'll go back to because it's the one I'm most familiar with, and it is the worldview that I'm living at the moment. Um, Mandates they're really trying to push this through. They're really trying to push COVID passports through, which is the scariest thing I think happening to Melbourne. Sorry. Um, and there's certain reports coming out saying they're trying to push this thing through so fast that I think the first thing that they're trying to tackle is restaurants and eating outside. So you won't be able to go to a restaurant, or you won't be able to eat outside of a restaurant if you have not had at least one jab. So that's another mandate that they're pushing through. And it would not surprise me, especially the way Melbourne has fallen, Sydney has fallen, and Australia as a whole has fallen to such stupidity that it wouldn't surprise me if they try to put some sort of legalization on it.
I wish I had pulled up this video that I saw of France, where the mandates have been imposed. People who are showing their passports are able to eat in restaurants, and in a perfect way of showing noncompliance and protesting peacefully, a dozens and dozens of families were just picnicking in the courtyards in front of all of these restaurants. So it was showing, I mean, this imagery of the two-tiered system that they have created, this segregation of people that they've created, and this silent protest of people who choose to live freely, and how they were just fine. They looked really happy just sitting and having a picnic right in front of those restaurants. Like, see, we can have fun too. We can enjoy our freedoms, and we don't have to succumb to these tyrannical mandates.
And that's the point here. They are tyrannical mandates. I mean, of course, people that are born after, like, say, 2000 or that, just do not have a big, wide range of history, and how tyranny starts and how tyrannical governments, tyrannical systems start. This is how it starts.
Right. And it really does look like it's gaining momentum across the globe. And that's a great sign. I feel really encouraged by just the masses that we're seeing in just the last couple of weeks. I mean, of course, these have been going on and off for months, but they're really gaining momentum and getting larger and larger
And everywhere, it's in Switzerland,
everywhere.
and it's all walks of life. I mean, you're seeing LGBT flags there as well. It's
You're seeing, yep,
you
and
know, it's
Christian signs. I mean, you're seeing all different walks of life. And I think that that's a good point to make here is that really this isn't, it's not targeting just one group. This is targeting all of humanity, all of the people. And if there was anything that we could all kind of unite against, it's this. Of course, there is, and we can't deny it, there is a large segment of the population that has a completely different worldview that
mm,
is just completely simping for the governments and completely just bought into the fear and the desire to control others, isn't there?
And I find those people are the ones that are still getting paid to sit at home and do their things. That's generally that population. I mean, everyone that I know and talk to that are on the opposite side of the fence, they're still getting paychecks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but sooner or later, these world leaders are going to have to be held to account because, and I was showing you this. Wait, which one is this one? Oh, this is
it's
Greece.
Greece.
Yeah, I was showing you what's going on in Canada, and
Canada's a funny one.
yeah, not only have there been, mass protests in Canada as well, but it appears that people are really kind of following Trudeau around at every public appearance he's been making lately and heckling him while he's out in public. I mean, large groups of people, to the point now where Trudeau is canceling appearances because he says it's too dangerous. And so I feel like these leaders have really have overplayed their cards. They just got really drunk with power and maybe thought that there was going to be some more compliance than there was, and now they're starting to see the repercussions of what they've imposed. And Trudeau is probably the clearest example of that because some of these other leaders just don't even go out in public anymore. They're too afraid. But
Oh yeah.
here you can see Trudeau walking down the street and he is just being berated.
Don't know if you can hear this, but
They're angry.
they're
The
angry.
anger,
Mm.
they're so angry because of the lockdowns, the closing of businesses, the closing of all of their just whether it's churches or activities that they need to go to, their lives, their livelihoods closed down, the mandates imposed. It's so much. These people have been through so much, and just they're justifiably angry. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was after this appearance and then one other on the next clip over that really Trudeau decided to stop going out publicly. Yeah, again, here the people followed him to Cambridge and just were heckling him and screaming at him at that public appearance. And then shortly thereafter, he's like, okay, I have to cancel his public appearances now. People are too angry. Well, imagine that.
Yeah, no shit.
You've acted like a dictator um, this whole time. So, yeah, the people are angry.
Um,
So,
and this is what, look, I predict this to happen. I do not condone this in any way, and I have to, we do have to say that. But the way that it is going to fall into some form of violence, and I mean extreme violence, which is this is just um, my way of reading the situation. It's going to be harder for some countries than others because of weapons mandates and stuff like that. This is not something that I want to see, but this is something that has been in the forefront of my head, um, especially like just looking at Melbourne and looking what's going on here, and knowing that there is underground groups forming. And when these sort of things start forming, and especially from the underground, and I'm sure this is happening in other countries as well, uh, usually trouble follows. Now, what that's exactly going to look like, I don't know. But I am fearful of that escalation because, as you can see, especially in this video, they are angry. People are angry.
yeah, they're angry. And I hate to think about this, but I understand that it is it's very possible that things could get increasingly more violent. I hope and pray that the people continue to unite in mass non-compliance as peacefully as possible. And I hope there's solutions and resolutions through those means.
100%.
Um, but again, we can't exclude that possibility because of the extreme ways that governments around the globe have been handling these lockdowns and mandates. Um, it seems like it is really ramping up. So definitely something that we're going to have to cover, I would imagine, on a regular basis. Um, but I again suggest mass non-compliance in the most peaceful way possible. And I do see people doing that. For example, in the way those truckers did on the roads. There's other ways of doing it. And so we just have to get creative in how we're going to work together in unison to fight for our freedom and fight against this tyranny that's happening all over the world.
100%.
Anything
100.
anything else?
No, I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to skirt around the system here. That's, that's what a few of us doing because these mandates are coming down really hard on us, and you know me, I always try to find a way around the system, and that is what I have to try to do here. But it is even people that I know that have been against this jab are being forced to take it in so many different ways. There's so many different ways they're playing with people's heads to make them do this. And until I'm in a position, where they're actually tying me down and forcing me, it's not going to happen. So,
Good. Resist it any way you can, and especially for people who have not had a mandate imposed on them yet, that think that may be happening, in which I think everybody's going to at some point be confronted with that decision personally, and it's going to affect people, everyone personally. It's a good time to be thinking now and coming up with backup plans. What am I going to do? Am I going to fight it legally through, get a lawyer? Am I going to write up a religious exemption? Am I going to quit my job or make them fire me? Do I have other jobs lined up or something that I could do to make money and get by? Where I can live outside of that system. I mean, these are things that people really, I think, are thinking about right now, if even if the mandates haven't been imposed on them yet, because they see the writing on the wall.
yeah.
And I'm personally same with me. Like I've seen the writing on the wall for a while and just really done everything I personally can to mitigate a circumstance where I would be pressured to to take that jab because I have a, a million reasons why I won't do it. So that's all you can do.
Mhm.
And for me, it's just leave the rest up to God and do the best I can to inform the people and help us unite.
So,
That's it. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining us today on Hive Mind, and please be sure to share this video. We're on YouTube, BitChute, Foxhold, and Pilled, and we'll see you back next time right here on Hive Mind.